Hey everybody, welcome to this week's Hot Takes podcast of the Book of Boba Fett. We're recording this the day after. We both watched this yesterday, but had some conflicts and some family stuff, so we couldn't record it last night for the fresh takes. So this is day-old takes.
It's our first time with a recording when we've had a little time to think about it.
Day-old bread, so to speak. Hopefully the takes aren't as stale, though. That's my joke for the day. All right, so overall, Phil, what'd you think about the third episode, right? Third episode of the Book of Boba Fett. What was your overall take? Because it's a different one this time.
Yeah, my overall take was I liked the structure, I guess, where it felt like it was mostly in the current time frame with just a little bit of a flashback. I mean, I know in episode 2 the quality of the flashback was good, but it just felt like it was dragging a little bit, and I want to know more about what's going on in the current time, and I feel like we got a lot of that this time. It was a relatively short episode. It was only like 35 minutes, but it felt like, you know, if you hit the points, like kind of a lot happened as far
absolutely.
as development happened. So
full of events.
Yeah.
All right, so I've got one hot take.
Okay.
We'll start here. Did exposure to so much sun on Tatooine make Boba Fett stupid? Because he's constantly just like getting caught off guard, kind of just like hanging around doing nothing. You got Mr. Wookiee name I cannot pronounce, like just grabbing him out of a Bacta tank. Like he's got
Black Chrysanthemum.
Yes, thank you. He's not very good at this whole like Crimelord thing, but apparently he has enough food and somebody's paying him.
Yeah, I don't know where the food came from. The place is like empty, and then all of a sudden they have this like banquet. I didn't know where that came from.
He's a larder, right? He mentioned that word. It was a strange word to use, I guess. But I mean, is it me? I mean, I've seen other people with this take, right? Like,
yeah.
He's not a very good Crimelord.
No, he's not. I mean, I guess that's what they're trying to show in this episode in the flashbacks, that he's, from the beginning, he said he doesn't want to rule by fear. He wants to rule by respect. And we saw that with the gang of kids, that he gives them a job versus punishing them. He wants to, treat people better, and tells the water merchant to lower his prices. Obviously, what happened to the Tusken Raiders and stuff like that, that he's wanting to be more sympathetic and including the little guy, I guess, for lack of a better word. But yeah, he's definitely not good at this. I guess, like Fennec keeps telling him, like, no, you should do this, you should do that, and he doesn't do it. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Like,
I'm okay with the whole respect angle, honor, or whatever. I mean, you can kind of pigeonhole into that whole Boba Fett kind of Mandalorian type of thing. But he's been around bad guys for a very long time, right? I mean, even going with, like, back in the Clone Wars cartoons as, like, a kid and everything, like, dealing with the Empire, you'd think he'd know that he'd need, like he was part of Jabba's entourage for like a hot minute. Like, I know I need a bunch of dudes to protect me. I need to know, like, to me, it befuddles me how inept he is at this.
Yeah, when he has a minute to think, he's good. Like, he stood up to the twins in this one. He kind of like, was good with them and stuff. But like, yeah, he gets caught off guard a lot. It feels like for somebody you'd think a bounty hunter would always be like on edge, right? Like, I don't know.
That's the one thing that keeps standing out to me. I kind of like how because I've seen this other take where I had this last week where the Tusken Raiders were going to come and save his criminal whatever.
Yeah, in the current time frame that he was going to be part of the group at the end, and clearly that's not going to happen.
I'm glad that take's gone, right? Like, that was very predictable. Everybody's, it's so predictable. This is what's going to happen. Nope, now they're all dead, and that kind of went out.
Yeah.
But now you can see the vengeance kind of storyline building up, right?
And clearly they're setting up the Pikes now to be the big bads, because they were the ones who kind of ultimately they had the train and stuff like that, which led to the Tuskens being murdered, even if it was by the Nicto Speeder gang. And then obviously the Pikes are now in the new frame trying to take over Tatooine.
So I suspect that they're setting up for the last 3 episodes, basically turf war, a battle, and then Boba Fett sitting on a crown of like skulls, essentially. Like, I'm the big, awesome bad guy, and I win, and everybody respects him, and whatever, right? He kind of gets his experience in, and maybe he has like a whole gang and stuff like that. I just think that they're really missing the mark on a crime show, right?
Yeah. Well, we still haven't seen like that clip they showed in the trailer where he got the heads. We learned in this one from the droid the 3 different factions that have taken over Mos Eisley. So those will be the ones that are at the table and stuff. Though. I know it feels like that could have been a little earlier. That's what I saw. One of the review videos I saw was like, shouldn't that have been like a day 1 conversation, from the droid?
Like set up like where the crime is happening. Like this episode was good. Like this should have been like a lot of the first episode.
Yeah.
Where, like he sets up a crew, he starts expanding, he gets an idea of the lay of the land. Maybe we take a step back to like why he's kind of setting up to be why does he want to be a crime lord? Like he's been a bounty hunter his whole life. Why does he want to do this rather than I don't know anything else?
Yeah.
So I like the chase scene, kind of changing tracks here a little bit. I thought that was kind of it
was fun. It felt a little slow, like they were literally moving slow, but it was fun. Somewhat ironically, my son, out of the blue, asked if we could watch Back to the Future tonight.
Yes.
That chase scene in that movie is pretty much the same as this one.
Same speed. Well, the speeder bikes, motorcycles, whatever, they look like classic 50s cars and stuff like that. So it definitely reminds you.
Yeah, there's a lot of references to the 50s, and I guess especially the 50s in London with the mod scene over there. That's kind of what they resemble, so that was pretty cool.
I like the water merchant. You kind of get a little sense of like the nitty gritty, kind of not like the grand scheme, grand.
Yeah, he's definitely like middle management guy who's like, oh, come, Mr. Crimelord or Mr. Boss, come and protect us, and of course I will give you more tribute and that sort of thing, but I need to be able to get mine by overcharging all the little people.
So this was kind of another episode where like nothing happened and everying happened again.
Yeah.
It's like part 2 because that's how I titled like our first hot take. Like everything happened and nothing happened whatsoever. Like finally you got a couple dudes for their gang. Like all of a sudden they're like jumping in front of enraged Wookiees to save him, even though they've been working for him for a couple days. Like I kind of feel like I think they might just flake out if they have an enraged Wookiee in front of them. Like
they might. I mean, I guess it's supposed to go with, like somebody stood up for them, and so they'll stand up for that person, I guess. But yeah.
I mean, I can hand wave all the motivation behind that. That's fine.
Yeah.
We still don't know why he's in a Bacta tank every episode. I'm looking forward to. I mean, we can guess, right? But it's not like why is he really in that every single.
Yeah. Why does it need to be in it? It's not just repairing from the Sarlacc pit at this point, right? It's
something.
He should need to be in it every night.
So that's I'm like jumping all over here because like in my mind I'm trying to like distill the episode and there's a bunch of just little things. You said you had a bunch of Easter eggs you wanted to point
out. So I mean I guess you mentioned the we were talking about the chase scene. A lot of good fun little nods to other famous chase scenes. Obviously the droid that was pulling the rickshaw is the same one from was it Attack of the Clones when Padme and Anakin were in it. One of the really fun ones was the painting that they break up through. That painting was a recreation of a concept art that Ralph McQuarrie did for Return of the Jedi.
I thought I recognized that.
Yeah, so a lot of fun things like that. The water merchant you mentioned, the actor was Stephen Root, who's been in a lot of things. Most people probably know him as Milton from The Office, or from Office Space. So he didn't ask Boba Fett for a stapler. There were a lot of little things when he went over to Mos Eisley. I thought it was neat that it really looked like the first scene from The Mandalorian when he walked through and they were putting the helmets on the spikes, and you even see the Pelimoto and the pit droids that help him out in the background. So it kind of like I thought it unified the universe a little bit. Yep. Yeah, exactly. So that was good. Other things they mentioned the Witches of Dathomir, which if you watch the Clone Wars, they're big in that, which was cool.
Reference. Yep.
The opening shot features a Bomar monk, which was the droid that's carrying that looks like a spider at the beginning.
Right. Yes, okay.
So it's carrying a jar. With the jar has the brain of the monk. They've separated their brain from their body because the flesh is weak, and so the monastery was what Jabba originally took over. So that's their monastery now that Boba's in.
And they had that little creature eat the jumping frog. That was in one of the movies too.
That was at the beginning of Return of the Jedi, pretty much the same spot, and burped in that one too. So lots of good callbacks, I think, to the movies, which was nice.
Now, one thing that I really liked, and one thing I'm dreading to see, is Boba Fett got his Rancor, right? So the twins.
Yeah, that was a whole big thing. Yeah.
So
Which they mentioned it was a calf, so I guess theoretically it could be Moochie. I don't know, but we'll see.
I don't really that connection. That's fine. Whatever. I don't really care about that. What is going to be really corny is he wants to write it, and so that's just going to be so terribly done. Like it's going to be Boba Fett with his flamethrower, and he's going to be shooting plasma bolts into the sky, going, "Woo! I'm on a Rancor, let's go!" And that's going to that he enters like the town and stuff. Like that shot's coming, right?
Oh yeah. Because they didn't mention that for it to not happen.
Exactly. A, it's going to happen for sure, and B, they've been referencing him just walking on his 2 feet, and like that, you just don't do that as a crime lord. So like, the last episode, either it's going to be used to fight, or he's going to finally get his respect because he's riding a Rancor around town. Like that's
something like that. Yeah,
that's coming. Like that's you can see that happening, and it's probably just going to be super super corny. But you know what, Boba Fett on a Rancor, at this point, why the hell not?
Yeah,
right? Sure. Let's go nuts. What are you predicting for the next next 3 episodes? Where do you think? I already said where I think this is going. Where do you think are going to be the major beats that we're going to see?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we still need to see that scene where he gets the other crime syndicate or crime groups that are in Mos Espa together. Obviously, I assume he's going to try to unify them and basically say, look, we have a common enemy now. The Pikes are trying to take over. So the enemy of my enemy is my friend type thing. And, he'll try to figure out how to get them under control and put all the forces together. And, like the end of this episode, we'll be ready for war or whatever he said. So I think that's what it's going to be. It's going to be preparing for that. I guess what's going to happen, though, it seems like it'll be a bigger scale thing, right? There'll be armies almost on each side versus, kind of the Mando one. It seems like more, we'll get our like small group of like 5 to 8 people together, right? This feels like it's going to be a bigger clash.
Do you think Boba Fett's ability or attempt to align all the Tusken Raiders is foreshadowing his attempt to align all the bad guys under him to fight the Pike?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was how he trained them and taught them skills to take down that train or whatever. He'll probably be the strategist or whatever that'll come up with how they'll take down the Pikes. But we'll see if it works, right? I mean, they're crime. You can't always trust crime leaders, right? So they could betray him at the last minute, just like the mayor betrayed everyone, right, to go with the Pikes. So
well, then let me ask you another question. So flashbacks were 50% of the show leading up to yesterday's episode. What are the points? What is the point of the flashback now? Is it just? Are we just fleshing out his like couple?
I think it's fleshing out like how he's grown from. In the past, he was a bounty hunter. That's all he was trained to be, and when he saw this other side of the Tusken Raiders and he became part of them, like he's kind of trying to find his own way in the universe versus just doing what his dad did. And so I think I was trying to show that. Maybe that's why he wanted to move on. Like, I don't want to be a bounty hunter just because that's what I was raised to be. I want to do something else.
But I'll definitely be a crime lord.
Crime lord. Yeah, I know.
Well, I mean, like, here's my point. Here's what I'm kind of getting at. Like, so you spend a good amount of time and money getting a bunch of sand people together, the costumes, the banthas, the whole train scene. Like, that's not cheap stuff, right? It was well produced and put together. That's got to mean something. It can't be just like, I'm having dreams of Tusken Raider, and this is what I did for 3 months of my life, or however long he was with them, right? Like that, to me, that seems like a waste. It should have a pivotal moment in the show. Like it's obviously there for something, not just maybe it is filler, because that's all it was. It's a filler, right? If it doesn't do anything, like I mean. The original prediction of the Tusken Raiders come and be his like boys in the crime world, like it had that's the origins of them, right? It was telling a story of how they came to help him and be a crime lord. But if that doesn't happen, we just saw 2.5 episodes or whatever of him being captured by them, turning him around, making himself useful, defending them, watching him die. Why? I mean, I'm not complaining because it's kind of cool, but it doesn't serve a purpose.
Yeah, I mean,
from
it's obviously
your point of view, right?
Yeah, other than just to show his kind of character growth or whatever beyond
but
that,
did he really
caring
grow?
Well, he started caring for other people, caring for other groups beyond himself.
But you saw that with his sidekick. What's her name?
Fennec, he saved her.
Yeah,
but that I mean, that's after
he saved the Mandalorian. He worked with him.
Yeah. But I guess how he got to that point, and I guess I assume we'll still see a little bit more flashback, like what happened after he left them, and how did he find Mando and stuff. And
I don't know. I hope not. I mean, we're just recycling this. Like, we're not even doing like one of those clever movies where like, you know, half the shows that is playing backwards and the other other part is playing, I don't know, whatever. Like, we don't need to know how he met up with the folks in the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, I assume they'll show when he found Fennec and when he took her and got her cybernetic parts and stuff like that. That'll probably be one part.
What do we need those flash? I mean, like, what's the story? I mean, the story is about him becoming a crime lord, right? That's what the show was about.
Well, and I agree, though. I feel like the missing piece is it just that he wanted something that he was in charge of now? Like, why did he want to take over from Bib Fortuna, but from Jabba's? Like, why did he want that specific seat?
And why
like,
on Tatooine?
Why didn't he want to just get off Tatooine after that point and stuff like that? So, he did with Mando and stuff, but then he left, so we don't know where he went. But yeah, why didn't he go somewhere else? Why back to Tatooine?
I don't know. I'm very now. Correct me if I'm wrong. It wasn't the end of season 2 of Mandalorian. Him going to Jabba's palace and sitting down, right?
That was like the extra scene, right? Like the post-credit scene. Yeah.
So in between Tatooine, he's left. He found Mandalorian, got his armor back. He went off world, and then he came back.
Right.
So we know kind of what happens in between.
Right, but he comes back there for a reason. Why does he go back?
Well, yes, that would be nice to know. I mean, but like, unless this whole storyline with the Tuskens doesn't really matter, but it's just bridging the gap of how Boba Fett became to be at the beginning of the Mandalorian, and that's where we fill in, and then we get a little bit of story after. I don't. At this point, I'm enjoying my time watching this. Absolutely, I'm not excited for every episode.
Like, I mean, I'm excited to see it because I enjoy it, but
but I'm like,
I agree.
Wednesday, it's another episode of Mandalorian, right? I'm like, ready to go. It's just like, okay, some cool new Star Wars content's coming out. It's Wednesday. It's
exactly. Yeah.
Did I miss anything on this about this episode, Phil?
No, I think that's the big stuff. So he did free Black Chrysanthemum. So rather than sell him back to as a gladiator and stuff like that. So I'm assuming he'll come back at the end and help or something like that. But
the bounty hunter is not turning in the bounty. I mean, I don't get that. That's out of character. Unless he's,
so I don't know if he's just trying to do like almost like, what was it, like in George and Seinfeld? Like, if every intuition I had was wrong, I need to do the opposite or whatever.
Yes, he's wearing velvet sweatpants every day. I mean, I thought he might do that just so he could join his crew, right? He's getting like a badass Wookiee like on his team. I thought that would be kind of neat, but no, he just ran away.
He just ran away.
But so it's like the Boba Fett that we knew from The Mandalorian, the Boba Fett that we imagined to be from the Star Wars movies, right?
Yeah.
Forget about the Clone Wars cartoon as a kid. It's totally different from the guy that we're getting to know right now. And it's very confusing because he was an awesome warrior on the planet where Yoda was, communing with the Force, right? He was blowing up people. He was doing all sorts of clever stuff. This one, he seems a little slow. He's aged.
Yeah, a little slower. And he's evolved a little bit. He's trying to be a little, I guess, less reliant on his technology and stuff. If you saw like how he attacked Black Chrysanthemum. So he's evolving and stuff like that. But I don't know. I still feel we need a little bit more of his motivation beyond just,
we definitely
I don't know what to do. I guess I'll be a crime lord. Like, I don't like.
We're starting to repeat ourselves because we're just still wondering and wondering about this. One last question to you. He keeps every single episode, he has flashbacks as a kid watching Slave One take off with his dad and on the water planet and stuff like that. Do we see more of that? Or is that just kind of like we're just going to show some cool tie-ins with the...
I don't know if it's just supposed to show his connection to his dad. I mean, if that's just part of growing up, everything was about his dad, and now he's trying to break free of that, but that's part of his flashbacks. Obviously, water's playing a big role in everything, but... I just
think you're doing some heavy lifting, like you're searching for answers. Like there should be a clear by this time that it should be evolved enough, and that we're halfway through, right? There should be a point to all this, and we're just not getting it. Okay,
but we'll see.
We'll see. That's my take. Hopefully, we could be wrong, and then like this is some genius storytelling because the people that are writing this are very smart storytellers, right? So I mean, we're not like a bunch of hacks with some fanfic writing some Boba Fett stuff. So anyway. we're going to leave it here. Next week, we'll see what direction they're going to go. Do you want to take a guess of the percentage of current day versus percentage of flashbacks for the next episode?
I think it'll be similar to this one. So I don't know, what was this, 75% current, something like that. I think it'll be around that.
Lower. I would probably there was 5 minutes out of the 35 that were like whatever.
So I think it'll be similar to that. I mean, maybe slightly more, but definitely more like this than episode 2.
Do we know how long the next episode is?
No, I don't know. There are 7 episodes though, so we do have one extra one. Yeah.
Okay, well, even better.
So we have 4 left.
All right, so that gives you a little bit more confidence. There's plenty of room to tell a story, which is good.
Yeah.
All right, that being said, thanks for watching our ridiculous hot takes. This is more of a mental exercise for us, people that are actually watching.
Our room temperature takes.
Yes, room temperature takes, stale takes. Show normally this weekend for the weekly show. And for that, have a good night, everybody. Take care.
Take care.